Volume up, not down. Welcome back, everybody. A Good Friday edition with the glitchy computer. The ship is taken on water. Welcome back, Artist Journal, March 29th, 2024, broadcasting from the pirate ship of the mind. The wind, it needs to fill our sails here as it fills my lungs. Blinded by our inner visions here. My name's Adrian Pocobelli, and what a wonderful show is lined up for us today here. A condensed show, which I'm very excited about. Let's see how condensed it is. You'll be able to tell. I can't, because this is recording as I speak here. Of course, you will see it in the future. And if I keep talking in these huge tangents, then these shows will go on forever. So, all to say, I'm very excited, and I hope you're having a wonderful long weekend as I wake up the neighbors here in the surrounding apartments. I'm looking on a Hof, as it's called here in Berlin, in Germany. It's kind of like the inner courtyard of an apartment. In case you're ever wondering what it is, if you can't see it in my pupils here, maybe you can see it if you very zoom in. Anyways, too many tangents here. Let's go. So I am thrilled and, excited to finally, it feels like a small art crime over here to have not started this show. I don't think I've ever started this show with the Kurt Hustle Collective. And it is a small art crime, at least in my universe. People ask you, do you have any regrets in life? And so I want to make sure this isn't one of them. And so here it is, Kurt Hustle Collective, Celestial Late Talk with Luna Leon. Let's just play it. 1-900-1997, 900, and let's just play this thing.
The funky celestial energies are keeping you awake at night. When they're fired up like that, just call 900-1997, 900 and talk late with Luna Leon tonight. 97 cents the first minute, $1.97 each additional minute.
The music is so good, always. It really settles into itself. So cool. You could just keep this going.
Celestial energies are keeping you awake at night. When they're fired up like that, just call 900-19.
We're listening to it again, by the way.
Like with Luna Leon tonight. 97 cents the first minute, $1.97 each additional minute.
So, just incredible. I always say with the Kurt Hustle Collective, I was never much of a video art guy until I discovered them. Again, they used to go under JNK, but of course they are a collaboration with Terry Visual as well. So it's JNK and Terry Visual. And I would say legends in this scene. I mean, you can tell look at the collector base here. I actually just picked one up as well. Akira Dice, Haiti Rocket, the great Haiti Rocket, Limbo, and Nicholas Dietrich. Right, so if you're looking for the creme of the crop here, or at least just classic, let's just call it uber classic OG Tezos art, this is where you find it. And 97 cents the first minute, $1.97 each additional minute, addition of 25, only 5 Tezos. Do yourself a favor. And let's actually, and pick one of these up. Let's actually take a quick look here. Let me go from oldest, because of course, I've shown some, and we've been seeing, of course, I follow Kurt Hustle pretty closely here. American Hustle games, we have seen quite actually an output here. That's why I was actually going to go from oldest to newest, but let's actually do a little tour here. Of course, Sonic Youth, kind of pastiche here. And, take us through this wonderful duo here, 1997. I adore this work here. A beautiful work. And, of course, had the exhibition there with the hologram gallery. And just an awesome output. Now, let me show you, because, of course, this harkens back to those earlier commercials. I've shown a few of them. There was one that I hadn't shown that I wanted to show, that I've always wanted to show on this show that I have not shown yet. And again, on the Puppet Pioneers, this is like the AI version, I think. So the Puppet Pioneers were hilarious. There's Neuralink. So just a huge output. And there's Haiti Rocket, these beautiful portraits here as a Puppet Pioneer, Purple Drank. Just brilliant. And the late Talk Night show. And even some 8 Badoo. Let me just see if I can find that commercial. You can see it's like a massive output here. And again, a lot of these are videos, don't forget. And of course, the Cyber Slums. This is why I was actually going to go from oldest to newest. But I mean, and you'll notice a lot of these are sold out or have a pretty nice secondary price on them. Oh, and this was just brilliant. The Puppet Pioneers. Maybe I'll bring up that very quickly. And I'm going to come back, actually, to... Let me see if this is the right one. This is just the GIF, right? So... let me show you this. This came out, I feel like, a couple of years ago. Maybe it was it wasn't a couple of years ago. It was actually sooner. Okay, so these are variations here. Maybe I am looking for, as we see here, again, look at this Haiti Rocket. I was looking for the Puppet Pioneer. Maybe it's this one. And here, let's see if these load up. Yes. I've watched this 100 times, maybe more. Well, probably 100 times. Just such good, cool, fun music. And again, it's so, like, and there's a picture of Haiti Rocket, a portrait, another portrait. Brilliant. So again, just it's kind of like the opposite of what I think of with video art, which is always kind of a little kind of, at least in the gallery scene that you're used to, it's a little kind of obscure and not the funnest necessarily experience you'll ever have. And that's why I just adore the Kurt Hustle Collective for what they're doing, because it's just a completely different way of doing video art. And so, of course, we have all these. Now, let's see if I can finally find this here. As you'll see here, I am making the processor of my computer work here in these awesome cassettes. These are like, again, in my own mind, these are legendary. I think this is the one, because the music is so good on this one. Oh, yeah. Just love, I want the album. Like, this is video art that really resonates with me. Like, just awesome track. They make their own music and everything. I hope it was worth the wait. So, where would you rather be? Even from an art perspective, not just the market. Where would you rather be? 200 Tezos now. Maybe you get lucky if you put an offer in. Last sale, yeah, it was only 10 Tezos. So maybe you get lucky if you put an offer in, if you are into that. So anyways, very excited and just love those guys. And so they have a new one also, which is only 5 Tezos, still available. Get it while you can, because they do go fast, or sometimes they delist. I had to point this out. So someone made a rap, and Pocobelli's hair was actually featured in it. Hilariously.
Hey, we take a different route and get with Klaus. No competition, the composition's figured out. He has the coolest hair, I think of jelly. He's something like a shining light. It's Pocobelli. Hey, I also mention artists, but with a pencil. I spit.
So a hilarious, I guess, tribute of sorts to the NFT scene, NFT collective rap. So just super hilarious. A lot of Tezos artists on here. Limbo and Dan Control and all sorts of people. Cider. Hilarious. So thank you, DG. Just gave DG a follow there. So totally hilarious. Late for work posting this. Awesome. So that was hilarious. And also, I applied to get on the rc.xyz, and I got on this thing. It looks awesome, doesn't it? Like a few people had posted, and I was like, maybe this is a nice way to organize my art. I'm not sure if you can group stuff, but it sure looks good, doesn't it? And I mean, I have to say, I was amazed at how high. It's pretty cool. Like it's like this is of course right-click save. I believe it's like their artist database, like Web3 artist database. And it's pretty cool. They add up all your sales and they have your high and everything. I mean, I was pretty amazed that I had actually made that many sales of 28 grand. So, they have how long you've been on, your followers and everything, all your links. This is like an artist database. So all to say, I think you can, if you're an artist in Web3, basically if you watch this show, you can, like I just applied like anybody else. There's some sort of application form. And then I'm sure if you're selling art, you probably get on there. They took a while, by the way, just so you know. So if you don't get an answer right away, they probably have a lot of requests. So all to say, it looks great, doesn't it? So really cool to see that. And so something to check out, because it was very kind of thrilling for me to see that. I'd love to be able to group everything. Because, of course, if you go across different blockchains, and I don't think they have Solana, actually, interestingly. I don't see Solana, so they don't have everything. But how cool would it be if I wonder if I can group these together? Because sometimes I go across different blockchains. Like I have works on Zora, for instance, and I don't know if those are here either, right? So, but all to say, it's in beta. I could imagine those things are going to come almost for sure. Let's look at the comments here. 11 minutes in, we're actually doing really well here. Jeremy Austin, articulating the madness beautifully as always. Thank you. Well, thank you. What did I write? I felt like appreciate the support and the vibes, and I love how you put that, and I'm glad you appreciate, what we're doing here. And of course, Jeremy Austin, a longtime viewer here and supporter of this show. So big shout out and thank you and big happy Easter to you, Jeremy. Awesome to hear from you. Cider, awesome. Hello, brother. Thank you for showcasing me once again. Haha. Do we have another Cider? I think I have a tweet, actually. Yeah, it was on BTC. I mean, Cider's doing incredible. Okay, so it's kind of a nice case study in, you know what it is for me? It's a case study in how this market is becoming more selective. But if you are within that selective category, you can do as well as ever, maybe better than ever. And Cider's always done pretty well as long as I've known about Cider. Has always kind of had a big account, seemed to do well in the 2021 bull market, kind of really built an audience of solid collectors. And it continues here. So talking about the fake rares, it was on BTC. The fake rare tokens happen on a sort of layer 2 in Bitcoin. Right, this I think is Counterparty, if I'm not mistaken. It's a weird experience, yet cool one too. Also love the curation of the art in this episode, Cider. So yeah, I was cutting, and I really cut on this episode too. And I have to say, it's kind of a ruthless endeavor. It's something you don't want to have to do, but I have to say, as a product, I'm incredibly excited to show this episode. Because, of course, the more you cut out, the more you can kind of make this, in a sense, what I'm trying to do here. As I kind of am constantly kind of thinking about what am I trying to do here, as I do with my life and my art and everything. Also with this show, is I would love to have something that someone that doesn't know anything about, say, Web3 or what we're doing here, but with an open mind, can basically turn on and kind of see the Kurt Hustle Collective, and take in a bunch of digital art, and that they can share with their friend, family member, or whomever and say, hey, you like art, have you seen this? Right? So the more I condense it, the more I think I can kind of make a spectacular, I call it masterpiece theater here sometimes, because sometimes you just go, if you really condense it, you can get it down to 30 works, and incredibly still a ton of work in the last 24 hours of what I'd call significant works. So all to say, I'm really great. It's really great to hear that, Cider, that you like the curation, because it is an edited, I'm starting to really get a bit more ruthless with the curation here. And this episode is going to be another example of that, but I'm kind of excited about it. Like, why not, right? I mean, because I think it can be self-defeating to create a 90-minute show. Right? Like, I mean, because then how many people are actually going to the end and all this sort of thing? And then if you give it to someone new, they're going, do I really want to watch an hour and a half? But if this is 45 minutes, then it starts to be more palatable. If there's kind of just really strong works across the board, that becomes a spectacular, and maybe that's good for me. Maybe that's good for this scene or those artists who are in here, and I'll still try and keep bringing in different people. But maybe, again, yeah. So anyways, it's great feedback. Thank you. And I'm glad it's kind of having an effect. So awesome to hear from you. And Gogolitis, you learned Sanskrit? I did. I went to first year Sanskrit class. The one word I remember is hrajaka, which is washerman. That's always my joke, learning Sanskrit. I did learn, there was a time. And it probably wouldn't take me too much to relearn. I mean, that was almost 20 years ago now. It was 20 years ago. But where I could basically read on the street if it said in Sanskrit or whatever the script is that's used in India right now, where I could read stuff like, karma and these kind of words, like the sounds of words. So I actually did take first year Sanskrit. It's a very interesting language in the sense that it's very similar to German in terms of the structure, for those that know German, putting the verb at the end and everything. So, so all to say, I did touch on that, but I mean, if you ask me to read it now, yeah. But, maybe something to come back to. Anyways, let's continue. Right now I'm learning Italian, and then probably German I need to pick back up. Let's continue here. So thank you again for the contributions here. I think this is new here to the community here. AK Dell, very cool. Very cool. And I'm discovering a ton of artwork. I love how this is going. These pixels here are going off the margin here. Very cool there. And we have a work by Filippo Francocci in this episode 2 in the AI and painting we have a few new works here. So anyways, I love this too. 2002. Really interesting contrast here and kind of edgy work. So all to say thank you, and what an honor for the Kurt Hustle Collective to be in here, and everybody. So Macro Mitrai, August Ground, and Violet Trip. So you're going to see a few of these works in this episode. Sarah Kretschmer, give Sarah a follow. I have Outlook open somewhere here. Give Sarah a follow. So anyways, cool work here. She's on Object and on Twitter there, old friend in the Berlin art scene. We have to meet up with Sarah at some point here. And so all to say, it's looking pretty cool here. Look at this. So Ansel and Kiro. And this, actually, this is why I actually scrolled all the way down here. Uxine posted this very cool documentary here. And I brought it up here. Safecrackers, The Art of Wares. The video showcases the historical beginning of both text mode and demo scene art as it applies to the early days of the BBS Wares scene. So how kind of cool and obscure is this? I have not watched this yet, but it looks super interesting. Maybe I'll watch it this weekend. So thank you for posting that, Uxine. Looks rad. That is, that's another beautiful thing that the community there can do. This was posted in the community, so I think, who was it? We were just seeing that. Anyway, this was posted in the community. A record-breaking acquisition. Wasn't quite sure what to make of this. I mean, we got this massive sale on Object. Did Carla Ganis just set the top price for a one-of-one by a woman artist on Tezos? The Garden of Emoji Delights 2014 is a monumental physical artwork edition placed on-chain. Interesting. I didn't realize that. Let me just see. So I thought I brought that up, but let's just see here what is going on chain. Maybe that's why it went for so much money, and maybe a lesson to all of us. Now there is a C print here. So is an editioned archive C print mounted on plexiglass that measures 13 by 7 inches, or by 7 feet, maybe. The minted image is documentation of an installation of this work. The listing is for edition 1 of 3 and 1 artist proof, offered via the Transfer Data Trust. The work includes a physical print, so you can see it's kind of this hybrid, phygital, maybe you'd call it. And now, is this on-chain? Because this doesn't look like it's on-chain. This looks like the physical. So not exactly sure exactly what's going on here. Kind of a cool idea, though. doing this kind of modern emoji of the Garden of Earthly Delights by Bosch. Pretty cool, actually. So let's just see who bought this. Foolish Boy bought this for 32,000 Tezos, which is $45,000, almost 46. So the good times keep rolling here in Web3. Again, we're always back to this, both from an art, it's both an art and a financial perspective, I would argue. Where would you rather be? So, so let's continue here. Zora, introducing ERC20 minting on Zora. Now, I think that's coins, if I'm not mistaken. So now you can make your own coins on Zora. I'm always a little hesitant about this. But I think it's cool that they have that functionality. Creators choose which token to accept as payment. Earn in stablecoins, meme coins, and tokens. Live on Zora Network, Base, which is the Coinbase that's very popular right now. Optimism, Arbitrum, Blast, and ETH mainnet. A new way for creators and collectors to value creativity. And there's the DGen token that they use on Farcaster. So to be perfectly honest, I wasn't exactly still sure. I guess what you can do is you can list any token to sell. So I guess you can sell your work for any token out there. And I guess if you make your own token, maybe you can sell it for that. But then I guess you know what you could do? Just thinking out loud here. I mean, maybe this is the excitement of it. Imagine you have the Poco coin and I only sold it in the crypto. What if you only sold your digital art in your own coin? Or take Uxine, for example. We're going to see a brilliant masterpiece here by Uxine in a few tabs here. What if you only, and I think there actually is a coin, but I don't think Uxine made it. But isn't that an interesting thought? I don't even know what that means, but it's an interesting thought. What if you only sold in your own coin? I don't know what that means. What are the implications of that? Maybe it's a terrible idea. So let's see what happens here. Very interesting on the market side of things. And someone was tweeting out, these guys are just constantly iterating and doing things, and I couldn't agree more. Zora is incredibly exciting to watch. I think they're pushing everybody, I would argue. I think they're pushing Object and Foundation to kind of keep up a little bit. I would argue. Who knows? I don't know the inside track on these things. August Ground, so more comments here. Love this episode. Couple of thoughts in regards to Renaissance. Part of the flowering of creativity was the movement of capital into the arts. Give artists money and watch what happens. And here we are in a world of crypto liquidity linked to art. Interesting similarities, and I completely agree. This is a point that actually I've brought up many times. I think the reason that this scene is doing so much brilliant artwork is very much a financial motivation, which may not sound very romantic to people. You might say, art should be for whatever pure reasons. But I think the reality is, as August Ground is pointing out, is I call it the beating heart of this scene, the financial component. Again, if nobody's making any money here, how many of us would remain? And it doesn't mean we won't keep making art, but, where's the motivation to, to make art? Yeah, most of us are lifers, I would argue. There's probably, I'd say, if I had to guess a number, 30 to 50% are lifers that even if they never sell a work, they will remain. And I've been there, where maybe sell a work here and there, but basically, again, back to that right-click rc.xyz panel, $28,000, and I'm not even aggressive about it. And I'm, it's not like I'm at the top of the scene or anything here. This is kind of like an average account in this scene. I mean, that's unbelievable, right? And that is the excitement. So all to say, this crypto liquidity, which has very little to do, I would argue, other than to stake or to speculate on art. There are other kind of use cases, which I'd argue are still very speculative, in terms of or hypothetical, shall we say. At least the art, what I've been saying since the depths of the bear market, we can say with anything, there's money transfer. As far as the use case for crypto, there's money transfer, which is real, but you can still do that with PayPal and email and other services. Although you could argue it's more better with crypto. and the other is buying and selling digital art in a credible way. You could argue, besides money transfer, that that is the main use case still. Buying and selling digital products. So, and theoretically, I guess you can do that, but you don't have the provenance, right? You don't have the blockchain. You can't do it with a credit card, I would argue, in a credible way, because all of a sudden I just have 50 JPEGs on my hard drive and there's nothing special about it. But when you turn it into a token, in a sense, it makes it a justifiable, and put it this way, a credible product, right? So again, the financial side of this, I'd argue, is crucial to why this is interesting and why things are happening the way they are. Thank you, Aaron Huey. Thank you, Favim. Great content, champ. Love that. Austin, great showmate. Articulating the matters. Thank you. Totally appreciate it, and appreciate all those comments. Cedar Plank, this is super interesting. Well, remember, we were talking, I was discussing, the anatomy is, for all of the cartoonishness sometimes of Hasdrubal Waffles or Cedar Plank's work, the anatomy is kind of surprisingly kind of well done. Check this out. Thanks so much, Pocobelli. So we started with Cedar Plank. This is Cedar Plank for those that never saw last episode. Yes, software usually does the driving. So referring to letting the tools kind of take you where you're going, kind of paying attention to what the tools kind of, to a certain degree, are asking you to do. Let's put it that way. Experimenting with the tools. Intended as a Sam Doyle homage portrait of Hasdrubal. Sam Doyle homage. I'm not even sure who Sam Doyle is. I probably should know. Maybe a singer. A portrait of Hasdrubal, but must recook it. Then manager came out. Exactly. So sounds like Waffles was trying to do something else, and then this came out, right? So almost exactly as we were saying, unplanned. And finally, this is what I wanted to highlight especially here. And yes, took a semester of medical illustration, right? And many life drawing courses, essential for doodling, in my opinion. So super interesting. And we've got a couple of pictures here. That looks like the Waffles portrait. So you just see the wonderfulness. And here's another one. Here's Sam Doyle. So I guess these were maybe the inspirations behind that work that we're looking at, maybe over here. I want to speak to the manager, to paraphrase. Very interesting. And again, well, gotta see, so don't be too impressed with the medical illustration. I hear you. I did a course in anatomy, actually. It was like a summer course. It was a few weeks. As part of my master's, actually, in English literature. It was 18th century and the body was the class, and then we could take a 2-week course in anatomy as an option, and I just jumped at that. I would have loved to have been able to draw the brains and everything, but it's quite something. Anatomy is important. In a sense, the body, you could argue, is maybe one of the main subject matters and themes of the arts, right? It's kind of a central theme, which is interesting. They call it the humanities. So a human is being at the center of the humanities, right? So as a visual artist, the body it's kind of so obvious that nobody talks about it, right? So this is why, again, in the Renaissance and just in general, why are you in life drawing, when you're taking 100 level drawing classes, say at university or wherever in your art school, why are you drawing the body, right? It's kind of like the central subject matter, one could argue. Chrome Void, also the Cider, is a fake rares XCP on Counterparty. Now, Cider's done amazing. We're going to see actually the tweet from Cider here. Actually, let's follow the link, Chrome Void. This is the great thing about not having too many links open either, is I can actually open links a little bit and do a little bit more exploring. And we saw this comment from August Ground. Human Boy, great episode, always a pleasure. By the way, the artist for Symphony and Pixels is Princess Tootie. So that was, maybe we have the work here. It was the abstract work that was on Manifold. With the geometry in it, if you remember that one. So thank you, Human Boy, for pointing that out, and thank you, Princess Tootie. Beautiful work. Little Cakes, always ecstatic to see Plank Cedar Plank as the opener. Yeah, indeed. We're on the same page there. And here, and as for August Ground, and as for big, sprawling, comprehensive novels, Ulysses comes to mind, Joyce's masterpiece. And arguably Infinite Jest by David Foster Wallace. And by the way, maybe I'm the only one who loves Beckett. I never miss a chance to see any of his plays, though my tastes definitely run to the extreme. who knows? Like maybe if I was to go back, and see a Beckett play, I would enjoy Waiting for Godot. And it's not to say I can't enjoy the absurdity and everything, but I just remember it, and it's been 15 years. So again, maybe the second time, you can see stuff the second time and it's a completely different experience. But I found it a little dry. Now, I think it's supposed to be boring and dry, but it's like at that point, it starts to get to be. So I'll just say, I think it's good to question too the value of these. I think Beckett's Waiting for Godot is considered a canonical work. I think it's always important to be questioning, 50 years, 100 years later, does it still stand up, these assumptions? So all to say, and as far as comprehensive novels, yeah, and Finnegan's Wake too, to a certain degree, but which is kind of unreadable. I would argue, maybe there's a whole discussion that could be had there. Anyways, and look at this interesting piece here. This pixel person, so thank you, Displaced at Home. Interesting artwork there in the comments. Here is, interestingly, okay, so we see X-Chain. So this is a cider work called now Pepe, and market cap $12,000 BTC. So how many editions here? Total supply of 42, and the floor of $1,055. So I'm kind of back to this thing like art on Bitcoin. So that's what I'm doing here. As soon as I finish recording this episode, I'm going back to my little pixel art works for Bitcoin, which I hopefully will mint in the next few weeks here before the halving. I mean, that's the deadline, really, in my own mind here. So let's continue. And here's Cider referring to, I think, this sale of these works right here. So this is the Cider work. We looked at that yesterday. So Cider's on fire here. I know that it's tiring to read tweets of me saying how grateful I am for this and that, but I really want to highlight yesterday too as a special moment that I am grateful for. The fake rare sold out in less than 5 minutes. I didn't even know I had a market for 29 editions and 8 on the presale. And maybe this is kind of a little bit of alpha here with the opportunities on Bitcoin. There is a lot of hunger. Put it this way. I was listening to an Ordinals Twitter space, and they were saying, art on Bitcoin, these are just like investors and ordinal people and developers. They're saying art on Bitcoin, you have it, that stuff probably is just going to be worth a fortune. I was hearing them say for like 20 minutes about how, that stuff is just going to be so valuable. And who knows, maybe they're right, but all to say, there's a lot of excitement from a market perspective, as we see right here with Cider. 29 editions plus 8 on the pre-sale, so selling 37 at, 0.015. Was that what it was? So anyways, apart from the sales, I also got to meet throughout the days and months some really amazing people from the fake rare community that helped me out or just simply welcomed me really well to the project. Again, Web3, for all of the criticisms it gets, is a remarkably friendly place. You guys know who you are, and I really appreciate you all. So just very interesting over there. Continuing on, if you're in Island Caden, if you are in crypto and crypto art, I can say with all honesty and sincerity that you should be using Warpcast now. It's way more fun than Twitter. It's just more. You can use both, but not joining Warpcast now, tisk tisk. So, yeah, like in a sense, I joke with people, the last thing I need in my life is more social media to a certain degree, right? Like, I mean, for all of us, it's pretty consuming. But nevertheless, I feel like I have posted a few links. I should start with posting the show, which does fairly well, frankly, on Warpcast. So I should go back to it. It's just a matter of bandwidth, right? And I'm a one-person show here. But I think I think these are probably wise words. One concern I have, which I voiced on the space, is one of the goals of this show, as it evolves in my mind, is to actually appeal to the world outside of crypto. Again, as I was describing earlier, to make a show where someone who is just interested in digital art and doesn't know, much about it, about what's going on in Web3, can watch this and not be like confused. And maybe the art is tricky for them. Maybe that takes some time. But where they can basically adjust and view it in a way and consume it right? And kind of appreciate it and actually have a good time and understand. So with Warpcast, I sort of feel it kind of increases the bubble, if you know what I mean, and where I'm trying to almost start to trying to appeal outside of the bubble of crypto and Web3. That's my only concern, but that's not like a deal breaker in my mind. But that is my only concern. That's why I still really like X from because it's, you have. The thing is, like, if the Department of Defense in the U.S. puts out a press release, like they put it on Twitter, right? If government officials in India put out, a statement, they put it on Twitter or X. So it's kind of a fun place in that respect. Like, it's kind of where the big game is going on as far as global world conversation of politics, right? So it's kind of but all to say, I can still put a little bit of effort into putting something on Warpcast. So, anyways, just sharing this tweet here because I think this person's onto something, right? And there are great ways, like I could say mint these videos. I think using Warpcast and put on Zora, and then just make it a lot easier. I think if you're doing editions, it's probably just better for your sales. So I think again, that Elon is onto something there. KF, Kyle Flemmer, has another art review, Seen and Seen Alike, an artist I'd never seen before, which is quite exciting here. So here is the work, and the artist is Carly. And here is, make sure I follow them. I may already be following them. Again, X, there's a glitch where if I load up a million tabs that I don't see everything. So here it is, Kyle Flemmer with another art review. So these are really cool. And really nicely written. Look at how in-depth this is, going into artists here. So just very cool. And so very cool. It has a few of these now. So a nice little collection, a nice little book really is starting to take shape here. Retro Manny, embed code object.com videos on your own website. So just talking about how that could be a really cool idea, a proposal. Where if you post your work on Object, should there be an embed tool like there is with YouTube videos where you can embed them on your website, why not have an embed for videos or artworks? So I think that's a great idea. And then it's just like everything's right there. And then if I'm a consumer, I just click on there and it takes me right to Object. It's probably good for them, interestingly. Michael, who we've had on the program on the Spaces there, artworks from Hic et Nunc are the most valuable pieces in the entire crypto art space. Hic et Nunc was the underground. When ETH gate-locked NFTs to the 1%, Hic et Nunc opened it. And that is very interesting. Of course, Hic et Nunc, for those that don't know, is kind of like probably the first marketplace to break out into the, I'm sure there were other marketplaces, but that was the first really popular marketplace on Tezos, where in the 2021 bull market, when it costed, it's not that different now, but it's a little bit better now, but where it costed $250 just to mint a work, like to tokenize a JPEG so that you could sell it. It costed $250. So if you lived in, South America, where if you didn't have much money, or wherever you lived, even if you lived in Canada or, Western Europe and you had no money, I mean, for anybody, $250 just for the opportunity to tokenize a work, whereas on Tezos, it was basically 2 cents. So that is very much, again, a market reason. We are very inside of a market, a financial market here. Interestingly, and I think it's something actually to really embrace. I think it's super interesting and to understand, because the more we understand it, I think the better off we are. And then maybe we go, hey, Farcasters actually, or Warpcast is a great idea. Just we should be thinking like entrepreneurs, I would argue. So all to say, very interesting comment there. And there's something to be said for this idea of these early Hic et Nunc works kind of taking on a kind of preciousness and collectability, shall we say. So interesting observation there from Michael. So here, tabs may be slightly out of order here on the Good Friday edition. So we looked at this. We looked at this wonderful sale here that happened. And Walk, important step in contemporary history of art. So I don't know if I don't know if Walk is trolling here. It looks real. The Perrotin Gallery, Galerie Perrotin, is now on eBay. Now, Walk, against all kind of conventional wisdom, has been selling works on eBay with success, I might add, for years. I've been there for 4 years, but it doesn't matter. Let's make internet great again. So it kind of looks real. Isn't that interesting? And maybe this is, again, now this is eBay, so it's not crypto, right? And it's probably selling physical work, right? But maybe as the market is, if what Katya Kazakina, the art detective, says is true, and the market is crashing, to use her word, to me it's almost an overstatement. She's using the word. But she is pointing out this work that sold for $790,000 is now selling for $8,000. Fair enough. What else are you going to call that? Now, is that and it doesn't sound like a unique scenario here, interestingly. We're not seeing a ton of headlines, so I think it's because that article is new and she's kind of breaking the story of the crash, by the way. If you're wondering why you're not seeing a ton of stories about this, maybe we will in a few weeks, right? So all to say, this may be a result of a changing contemporary art market where all of a sudden Perrotin goes, you know what, we need more revenue sources. Let's try this out. Maybe we can sell a bunch of prints. And look at Walk here, current bid $98. There is an art market on eBay for your physicals. So Walk leading the charge here. Marge Spray on Paper 2024, starting bid $1. And this is like another classic Walk move. He does it on Tezos as well. Just puts a Tezos, and it goes for whatever it goes. It all sells because it only starts at $1. If your work's not selling, take a page out of Walk's playbook, put it for $1 and auction. And then you'll see what your real market is. At least, depending on how much you market it or post it and whatever. It's a really cool way of working, incredibly cool artist, and, leading 4 years, and now Perrotin is like, hey, me too, interestingly. Kelowna Contemporaries, so interesting move here. So here's Mikey Wilson's work, kind of almost an iconic work in this scene, This Too Shall Pass, of Mikey when he went to prison. Hold My Beer, Dark Farms, who is a meme, kind of crypto meme coin and memer, meme coin maker and memer, we're stoked to bring the first BOEM, which is a meme coin, in real life gallery auction right here on X today. So kind of similar to what we saw with Zora there. You can pay with anything. You could also, it looks like you could probably pay with BOEM on Zora, right? If that's something you wanted to do. We're stoked to bring the first BOEM in real life gallery auction right here on X today from now until 6 p.m. Friday. Just post your bid below so you can bid on this work here with BOEM, with your meme coin here. So interesting from Kelowna Contemporary. Interesting move. Now, these are brilliant. I'm not sure if we've looked at this artist before. Marco Bonafate, NFT. Yesterday, I didn't have time to make the post before the first two sold immediately. Here are the two pieces from the Amorpha series. And this looks really impressive. I have to say, making these works, putting them in frames like this, I assume it's digital, the same way that Rare will put the work in the gallery. But I brought these up here, and they are digital, by the way, and they look really impressive, by the way. And it says, again, in the description, it says digital piece, because it almost looks physical, doesn't it? So very interesting work here. It's quite beautiful. There's something almost kind of, again, physical about it. Digital, 2024. And so Brutal, I think, is the name of the account here. So very interesting looking work here. And I'm not sure if they're all sold. This sold for one sol, and this sold for one sol. So these two are left. Look at how, again, just beautiful work here, as you see. And then we will continue to run through this episode. Maybe we'll continue to run. Here we go. So nice looking work, if you ask me. Again, I'd love to see what this looks like physical, too. Almost like we saw in those frames. Rinny Fish. 1 year ago, I had a collab with jewelry brand Juju. Made a bug ganyan for them, and now it looks super cool with their magic. Also available on the secondary of Object. So, again, Look at how good that looks printed. You know, it's in my Instagram. Actually, if you run over to my Instagram before, 7 or 8 p.m. Berlin time, you can see in the stories there is a physical that I took a picture of yesterday. I should have brought it up for this show, of kind of this pixelation and just being done. And you could see really closely in this work. I went to the Neue Nationalgalerie here yesterday. 4 to 8 is a free night. And I went with a friend, and you could see this really cool pixelated work. So all to say, and I just thought, again, it's just like a simple, like if you saw this work that I'm talking about purely as just a black and white GIF, which it was, it would be maybe nothing too special, but then transferred and transmuted really into the physical artwork. Then again, it's like alchemy, and then all of a sudden it takes on a deeper significance, and it's more hypnotizing and more beautiful. So again, this power of traveling through the mediums, and I think we see it here. And look at that with all of this, just beautiful. So nice work there from Rinny Fish, and here's the work, which sounds like it's available on Object, secondary on secondary. So cool work there. And again, it's great to post your older work online. Again, I say that to myself as much as anybody here, because I should do that too. Ezra Eslin, sketch and artwork. So just a window into how Ezra Eslin works, actually. So starting physically, and then look at this beautiful work, Plain Doom. Quite a cool work on a kind of a metaphysical level. You have the screen here in the middle of this jungle. This person kind of wrapped up, their headphones on, wrapped up in their computer that is on fire, and blood coming out here almost from the video game. Very interesting. And all of this, pollution, the Red Bulls, and then surrounded by nature. Beautiful work there. Here's Denise Sanchez, Varnish and Blue Stace. I thought pretty interesting, a beautiful blue here, and just interesting work here, just white on blue. So we're seeing a physical version of some of these abstracts here from Denise Sanchez. So very cool there. It kind of has a cyanotype kind of color to it, almost like a palette. So very cool there. Here's Lorna Mills. I thought this was interesting. So NFT for limited edition NFT installation, edition 2 plus 1 artist proof, description 4 channel. So we see basically a photo of an installation, right? 2 minutes long, being sold as a piece, which is interesting because sometimes the installation is the artwork. So I thought this is also just an interesting kind of, here we have these different digital artworks being shown on physical screens and then, again, turned into a photo, or a video, I should say, and then tokenized, turned into a token. And then here is the work. And it kind of works, is kind of how I feel about it. So I think here it's an edition of 1. It sounds like there's a few things going on. Edition of 2 plus 1 artist proof. So not exactly sure, from a 2017 video. So just kind of interesting. I was mentioning this work earlier. This brilliant, brilliant work by Uxine. Let me actually show you on Manifest first. So copy protected fear. So that's just an awesome, that's great. Copy protected fear. So the fear, I guess, of being copied, I assume. So where you want your copyright, interestingly. And so here you have to burn this other work to get this work here. How many do you need to, based on Easter Morning by Friedrich Overbeck? So total redeemed only 14 so far, interestingly. Just a beautiful work here by Uxine. If we zoom in a bit, as you see, kind of a looser Uxine here. And I'm a huge fan of this as a solution, where you have different, like as an artist, what you'll see, especially as a digital artist with layering, what you're going to find is you're going to run into these scenarios that are many right answers. And what I mean by that is, take this here. We have these different renditions of the circle around, the halo, so to speak, around the hand, as well as the halo here. And you have all these different variations. And as an artist, you can ask yourself, why this version over this version? And they both look good. As I say, in design, there's more than one right answer. And what I love about GIFs is it's a way of putting all the answers that work into one piece. And so it kind of becomes this beautiful, where you see all these different possible variations of the work, but kind of simultaneously, or at least in this kind of sequence here. So quite cool, right? I mean, it kind of, again, and inherently digital. And there's also something else I wanted to point out that is incredibly beautiful about this work, which is the frame. There's a lot of beautiful things. Again, we're kind of playing with different colors here. Pretty interesting, actually. Like these lines breaking up the halo are quite interesting and beautiful. Interesting how this goes out to this first kind of frame, we might say, but not, only halfway. Again, with the eye, we see different variations. What do? Hey, let's just make a GIF using all the variations, right? There's the fly mutatio, perhaps. And then again here, should it be pink or should it be kind of blue-green or teal? What should it be? Well, maybe we'll do all of the above by making it a GIF. And then again, you get the contrast here of the movement by keeping some areas still. You get the contrast with the moving, and then it just brings the whole thing. There is a poetry there, without question. And so, and there's the fly wings, perhaps. The final thing I want to mention here is you see here, this to me is where you really see, among many places, the brilliance of Uxine. This like ASCII, I don't know if you can see it. This is like a text. Let's see if I can make it. You see here? This is like when we're drawing, let's say a lot of us on type.art when it still existed, and this is like something you can type with. This is like a character, so to speak, and here's a different kind of texture. And so here, Uxine is using this as the frame, which I think is quite brilliant, and you even get these wonderful gaps here, these painterly gaps, and even here you get this painterliness. The frame, to me, really seals the deal on this work. I always have this weird kind of thing with like margins and frames, but really just a gorgeous artwork here from Uxine. Could have easily have started this show. Just beautiful. This was quite brilliant too. Daily routine. I thought it was hilarious, actually. Wake up, coffee. In real life work, coffee. Fear and loathing in the office, coffee. Answer messages, like kind of, there's a humor to Uxine too, which is nicely appreciated, which is just interesting, which I like. I mean, it's just kind of one of Uxine's qualities. And here, 12:30, the structure of the day, the digital day here. iPad, attend meetings, act normal. iPad, again, there's humor. Time off, commute 1.5 hours, ride bike, run, lift stuff, ignore drama. iPad, read, sleep. You kind of a window, you suspect it's probably actually close to reality. This sounds real, doesn't it? Fear and... so daily routine, beautifully stretched out here. And I found this super interesting too, because you know what this looks like to me? This looks like it was kind of painted on the iPad and then processed. Right, and then some sort of digital filter put over top, digital rendering, exporting, and then so turning the painting, the textured painting into this beautiful kind of digital work here in the skeleton. And really interesting, frankly, how this blue is not quite covering, like interesting overlap here. Again, just beautiful, a lot of creativity in here. Daily routine, ignore drama, iPad. Beautiful work here by Jan Lucas Magone. So it has been released. We saw the little ad yesterday. Future Pleasures, gorgeous piece here on Zora, 51 minted so far. Let's just bring this up big. So just very cool. Kind of looks like the Apple Vision Pro or some variation of it. Very nice piece here by Jan Lucas Magone, immediately recognizable as Jan's work, and these wonderful skeletons here, and all of these bodies kind of connected here with the one body in the middle, kind of infrared, and a skeleton. A lot going on here, Eros, Thanatos, and everything. Virtual worlds, technology. Very cool mint here. on Zora. Great title. One, Future Pleasures, looks like it's part of a series. 51 minted so far. And yeah, just beautiful work. Just minted too. Let's continue here. And here's Mumble Boy, Feed the Cloud. And here, so this is a edition of 1 for 12 Tezos. Nice piece here from Mumble Boy. Kind of almost a nature work as we see the clouds. And you see massive work here. And again, you see this, traveling from physical to digital and back. Quite a beautiful piece. Nice kind of, looks like digital spray or digital brush over top, soft brush. Nice piece. Just a nice kind of wholesome piece here. 12 Tezos, so $16. Tezos is rising. A beautiful series here from Yuri J. I really want to keep these shows to a minimum time here. Struggling here. Probably just need to keep the commentary down. Beautiful, right? More beautiful work. Yuri J. What's this series called? After the Rain is the name of the work. From Top of Eternal Rest. Interesting title here. So this was minted 3 days ago. Beautiful color here. Just kind of a nice outdoor scene. And we have another one. What's this? Evening Shadows. Also from that same series. And we'll see if any sales have happened here. So again, just a lot of experimentation here, almost, again, playing with outlines, a lot of kind of edgy Photoshop filters. Looks like a lot of maybe filters on filters. I think we've discussed this before with Yuri J. Filters on filters. It's a very powerful tool. You want to make original mark making, digital, filters on filters, exports on exports. Okay, similar to what we saw with Uxine there, right? Okay, do this, put it through the export. Okay, then we get something, you put that in the export again. Very interesting. So minted on March 26th, and so these are just minted a couple of days ago. Going Home is the third here. So cool new series here on Foundation from Yuri J. There's our octopus. Love it. And again, just very original, beautiful painting here. Beautiful outdoor scenes, beautiful landscapes. Almost looks like a castle there, doesn't it? But then with a modern apartment building, kind of enigmatic, isn't it? And look, this looks like water. But again, with these wild marks here, this beautiful painting. And look at here, like in here. So again, just beautiful. And this like train track or fence. Nice work of ballerinas. You think of Degas, right? Ballerinas, and this is Nuv 1914, and fits the screen almost perfectly here. So beautiful work here, as we see 4 ballerinas with these interesting kind of red flowers in the hair, maybe. So, of course, playing with the dancing theme. Of course, we saw that with the flamenco works, and again, big thank you to Nuv 1914 for sending that. My mom absolutely loved it. Now, I think we saw this Dan Control work, Batteries and Batteries, a few weeks ago, but I don't think we saw it on Foundation, and I don't remember this black background. I mean, maybe it was, but another just brilliant use of repetition by Dan Control here of this battery just repeated over and over, and then you get a composition. Dan has been doing this kind of wildly. There are some recent cosmic works here. This is called Universe. Let me actually bring up Dan's page really quickly here. So again, now I saw a work like this yesterday. Remember we were talking about New Order and the cover to Blue Monday 1988 and how Dan did a version of that. We started the show. And with that, and I think, if we go to created here, yeah, you see Dan doing all sorts of pushing the limits here, pushing the edges. Neutron, right, with minimalism. Here, a quantum jump. I think quite brilliant. The Iron Giant, this was also an interesting kind of experiment here. So very interesting, very edgy. And we saw that with like the 500 Tezos works. Like Dan is constantly kind of prodding the edges of what is kind of acceptable to a certain degree, and doing it so consistently that it has credibility. Let me keep going here, though, in case we run into problems here. I don't want to have to re-record this on a Good Friday. Here is Bazaya, a free mint, open edition. Maybe this is on base. Very cool, just some cool animals here from the great Bazaya out of Argentina. Let's start the 2024 Bull Run preseason, Bazaya 2024. 2 hours to go, claim now free. This is on base. Total minted 80, and I think we have another one. And you can burn to redeem, so get it while you can. And then you can redeem this work here, the cow. So again, I think Bazaya works all on the phone. I remember him saying. So that was super interesting. I think Paint's on the phone. So another phone artist, which is awesome. So you can burn that first one to redeem on Manifold. And here's Limbo, and let me get the music going here. The Cursed Hour, this is really reasonably priced. I would have loved to have picked this up. Only 3 Tezos. Let me hit play here. Just a really cool vibe on this one. Kind of video game feel. First person player here. So very cool. Limbo generally makes the music, so I assume, and you see that little princess who's kind of showing up. Very, very cool work from Limbo. 12 Tezos on secondary, edition of 30, so selling out. Nice work, Limbo. Yeah, I'd love to pick that up. Would have loved to have picked that up off primary. Jake Studios with a new work. 2 Key Revolution here. And so interesting piece here. Again, kind of a stream of consciousness work, I want to say, from Jake Studios. We were discussing that yesterday with Waffles. Kind of starting without knowing where you're going to go. Interesting. You know, these journeys into the unknown through your own mind. Well, very cool work here. That's edition of 10 for 9 Tezos each, and that's with Fake Whale Gallery on Object. I'm not sure if there are other galleries coming in. Demon Ego, so this was posted, not minted yet though, so a preview of a work here. Again, looks like it's printed and then drawn over top from Demon Ego. Very cool piece. That got a lot of retweets there, 112 retweets, 15,000, so doing fabulously there. And here we have RJ for owner 1 of 1. So this sold. So this is a 1 of 1. Cool. So 1 of 1 picked this up. Kind of a pastiche of Magritte. And here we have the sky in the background and the sky in the person. So a kind of reversal here. What is the title of this? Transference. Interesting. A psychological term. After René Magritte's Décalcomanie. I'll have to look at the original of this work. It looks familiar to me. But I'm not exactly sure what was going on, because decalcomania was the technique that was used by Ernst and Oscar Dominguez and Roberto Matta from the Surrealists. Again, the idea of putting paint on the ground, then you put a piece of paper and you lift it. We've almost all done this in primary school, really. Anyways, cool work here. 1 of 1 gets it for 35 Tezos. Nice pickup. Here's Cap'n. And this is part of a larger work or series here, Textscape. We're going to kind of browse through it really quickly. So here's Cap'n with a very cool, I just adore these kind of works here by Cap'n, these kind of simple works, and then putting some text in what looks like a bit of a lake here in this gorgeous, insanely gorgeous landscape. 117 minted. Nice work. I wonder how many followers Cap'n has. 550. Is that it? And still is minting out of control. Amazing. That is amazing. Here's another one from the series, Char Rose by V5MT. And so 145 minted. So maybe it's because it's also in the series too that everybody sees it. Maybe it was featured also. So really nice piece here. This one jumped out at me. Again, using text. So here is this everything? No, here we go. Yeah, so Textscape. So this is the entire series here on Zora. There's even like an artist statement here and everything. So very cool pieces here, as you see here. Can't show all of them, but go check it out on Zora. As you can see, a very cool series. There's Mech. I think actually I brought up that Mech too. Beautiful work. And here we have the Great Hasdrubal Waffle, estimated time of digestion for all the maraschino cherries. So interesting food theme going on here with cedar plank, isn't there? And there are because we saw the chicken in the brain, right? It's almost like thinking of food. And so interesting. And again, these insanely gorgeous textures here, kind of a fun composition here. And interesting use of kind of diagram, just an awesome, and that looked like a keyboard in the hand. Here's another work, kind of humorous work with the dog and the person looking behind. Do we have a clue here? Style. So interesting. And I think we have a couple more. Again, looks like the residents here with the eyeball with the top hat. Here's how animals are rendered into hot dogs at the factory. All sounds are from the 87 version of Fantavision. Wow, so you even get sounds. Really cool, isn't it? Just makes it look so easy. I mean, amazing. I don't think these have been minted yet. I don't think. So, I mean, are you excited? Are you excited yet? Wheel bite. Here's another one. So a skateboarder here. And again, just getting these great results. Fantavision to me looks like, I've never used it, but it looks like a tricky one to make work. I mean, Waffles or Cedar Plank is doing an awesome job of making it work here. Yeah, making it look easy there. Mech.txt, Cain and Abel. So, ancient theme here, two blood shedding blood. Yes, so, you know, it's right there. The heart, the origin, you could say, the mythological origin of war is one way you could describe this. And Cain and Abel, the first two brothers there fighting it out. You see it in Rome. Romulus and who was the other one? You know, fighting it out. You know, the frailty of human nature and everything. Nice kind of large rendition here from, I'd say this is a nice size. Let's look at the pixel size. So 2500 by 2500. Nice size, right? Original is 250 by 250. Again, Bitcoin friendly at that point because it's probably not a huge file. Continuing on, here's also from the Techscape exhibition from mech.txt. So just interesting text here. And here we see some of the tiling on the right. So interesting addition here, 98 minted pendulum. So interesting piece here. And let's just quickly, right, so we saw, I want to go through all of them, but it's just a little too much. Maybe next show. Because this looks amazing. This, you know, I don't want to leave people out here, but I have to be ruthless here. Guys, we're already at an hour 7. I have to be ruthless here. So here's just a couple more. Here's Hex, and here is just another really rad work. So you see how, like, I mean, again, I'm just putting my hand out in the waterfall and catching some works here. Because look how cool this is. Even just the whole news thing. Okay, we got to run here. Very cool work. Great series. Here's Element Lee, Square. Remake version 200 by 256. So Element Lee continuing to experiment here. Nice, big, kind of adding color again. And interestingly, kind of no spray pixels on this one. That's on Instagram. Here's Ugo Digi experimenting. As you can see, it's a bit of a GIF. So interesting work here. Not sure which software this is. Looking cool. And here's Anis Abdin. Orbit, and of course it reminds you that there is going to be a solar eclipse April 8th coming up. So here, that is in North America. So cool combination, again, static pixels with the black here and then the moving pixels. Great contrast, so interesting piece from Anis Abdin. Here's Favum, number 2, showing a couple of these works here, so just interesting pixel artworks. Interesting glitch here. And here's another one, Feline Love, with the tiger and the person at the pool. Here's Nicholas Sassoon, Choices. So really interesting piece here. Just interesting work. How's this doing? 11,000 views, 129 retweets, and that is only like 12 hours, maybe a little more, 15 hours old. So that is doing spectacularly. Very nice. Here's Green Ginger, 90s Diaries. So as we can see here, it looks like some 90s windows, but at a 45-degree angle. I think that, actually that's not 45, maybe that's 30 degrees. And again, we see these kind of references to old desktops. This is 250 by 250, enlarged to 1250. So addition of 20 for a Tezos 75. And here's Chaz, Serene Track, interestingly. So interesting, kind of maybe a music, it kind of looks like Winamp, doesn't it? Which is kind of funny. Serene Track, this innovative music player. So I guess it's called Serene Track. Edition of 15, Tezos 50, starting to sell. Here's Françoise Gamma, putting out a ton of work, hilariously the last few days. And It's awesome. Look at this. So just super original string with commas in it. Here's another version of this work. Again, edition of 30 for 3 Tezos, looking great. Beautiful colors here. Here's Silva Santus, Glitch City number 3, 6 minted, and a Tezos 30. Very interesting piece here. So another take on the Glitch ROM. Just a really interesting, consistent artist. Only 6 minted, a Tezos 30 open edition. Here's Ellie Lowe, Wheel of Fortune. So a Tezos, I think we've seen a tarot card. So pretty interesting, cool work. Cool Tezos card, Trash Bag by Ellie Lowe, 2024. The Wheel of Fortune. So we've seen a ton of tarot here. It's a great theme. Don't Steal My Memory. This is Dither and Violet Tripp. So cool. Look at that. Cool collaboration here. And there are the stickers and the signatures on the back. And works by Violet Tripp here within this TV. Just very cool. Holding maybe onto a laptop or a scrapbook of some kind of binder. Maybe a hard drive. Don't Steal My Memory. So very cool work here. 3 Tezos, edition of 20. Another cool collab. Here is Kiro with an outrageous yellow page here. And this beautifully, I guess kind of very, what's the word? It's not rough, it's not loose, but kind of really fuzzed out, shall we say, but in a beautiful way, like an edgily fuzzed out work. That is my description of this. Edgily fuzzed out. Fum Oin. Not sure what's going on. So 3 minted so far. This is on Zora. So cool work there. And a gorgeous one from Klaus. This is an edition of 1, selling for 21 Tezos, number 177. Look at that one. We saw that in the hip-hop song Works by Klaus. So cool. So the artist, the hip-hop artist, seems to know what's going on Tezos there, which is awesome. A composition number 177. Here's Ex Mortal, Sea Change. So kind of an interesting piece here, kind of zooming in and kind of abstracting a little bit. Just kind of a neat piece. And edition of 5, and this is sold out at 5 Tezos each. And continuing with Coda Nakazono, edition of 5 for 15 Tezos, 2 gone. Another interesting piece. And so the works continue to move here, which is exciting. I need to put out some works. I'm so busy on this pixel art thing. Let's see if I can finish it. I should not talk about it before I actually finish it. Nachi, this is by Renki. Seeming to combine the blue and the red, right, into one piece here. So just continuing the variations, continuing the journey with Renki, one made and not listed. Here is Simulacro. A fun video work. Great audio. What I like about this too is it abstracts the kind of the pattern recognition from the surveillance camera, and it just goes in almost random ways over top as a separate layer. I really like that. And the music is awesome. Again, I think it's not easy to keep video interesting. I think these guys are doing it, you know, or Simulacro are doing it. Great audio as well. 6 Tezos, edition of 20, selling. There's Coda Nakazono picking one up. Awesome. You know, Artist Spine from Artists. It's awesome. This is a beautiful one by Trueface. Look at this work. So this is AI artwork here. Interesting piece. Again, Pablo Radice, if I'm not mistaken on the name there, Trueface, makes their own algorithms, and some of them are huge, so I'm not going to open that, but just gorgeous AI painting here. Let's see what it means, or what it says. The life of my emotions changed. So just very cool work here from Pablo Radice. And continuing, we have this work here from Filippo. And where is your last, I think it was it, I want to say Ferraccio, but in the community. If you're looking for the link to this is in the community, I believe, or at least the artist has posted, and you can find this. Cool work on Exchange.art on Solana. So again, using AI in the mix, though. New Control, a digital collage created from a combination of hand-drawn sketches on paper and AI-generated blends of my original paintings. I do the same thing, and I love it. I think it's a fun way to work, where you use the AI to recombine. Very powerful. And look at this. I mean, it's quite beautiful. And has it sold? Highest bid, 3 sol. Finalizing in 1 second. We just saw the end of the auction. That is hilarious. Big congratulations to Filippo. I think this is the first time, like we had Filippo in the community, we saw the work, but this is the first time we are featuring the work here kind of proper. And what a beautiful beginning that is. So selling for $555. Big congrats to Filippo. The timing on that one was perfect. And here is Evelyn O working with Mikael Noelsen. And of course, Evelyn O working with AI and Mikael Noelsen doing a lot of abstraction. A lot of work on Solana, sells for a fortune. Cool combination. If you ask me, this combination is really going somewhere here. So beautiful work from both. The reason I'm talking to you again is because Mikael Noelsen is one of the 2 people who actually really encouraged this show to happen when I was just kind of experimenting out. So this is also Evelyn O. So just another interesting work here. So I think this is AI. I think pretty amazing, isn't it? All the different kind of mark making, just interesting work. And this is John Thurman, who I'm sure I follow. Bible Black Sleeping Sea. That is a glitch on X, minted on Zora. And so this also is using AI where John paints over top of it, as you can see here. So just interesting, isn't it? A lot of AI combination with painting. So few interesting works there that I feel could show in the same show. And No Hygiene was just another kind of bold work. This is an edition of 2 for 7 Tezos. Just edgy AI artwork with these cubes and the people inside. AI made with Midjourney. And here's a physical, Patricia Paludinus, a detail from my drawing, Save the Last Dance for me. Just interesting piece here. Unfortunately, can't make it much bigger. And here, the artist, Walk, BMW, looks great and is just a master of the spray. As I've said a million times here, and I will continue to say it, a master. It just makes it's like a virtuoso. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's just like the movement of the hand or what. It's just gorgeous. And then maybe, who knows? Walk, the brilliant Walk, BMW, who of course I follow as well, happily. That is your show, my friends. Have a wonderful Easter weekend. Thank you for joining me. And until next time, take care.